Hi everybody, and welcome to my little experiment and demonstration video of a couple of prototype pickups that I've been working with for the last few days. I was tasked with winding a hot humbucker for a friend of mine who's going to be playing hopefully abroad later in the year. I just want to go through part of the prototyping process with you here because I've got two pickup designs and they're almost identical, and it's interesting to hear maybe the difference between the two, if there is any real difference between the two constructions. So pickup 1, 8.1 Henrys, AlNiCo 5. Pickup 2, also 8.1 Henrys, AlNiCo 5. In other words, they have exactly the same number of turns on each pickup. The difference between the two is the DC resistance. The first one, 14.1k, the second one, 17.2. Now the difference here is simply that I've used a different coil wire. The first one is an AWG 43, and that's a slightly larger wire for anyone who's not used to these sort of nomenclatures of American wire gauges. That's a slightly thicker wire than I'm using on the second one, which is an AWG 44. The consequence of that is you get a slightly fatter coil, so that the bobbins are a bit more full, and the DC resistance of a larger wire per foot is slightly lower, hence the lower resistance. The sound clips you're going to hear are going through Helix. I'm just using my 3 normal sounds, which is my sort of a Mk IV Boogie through a 412 cab. So it's the first channel, the second channel, and the third channel of a Mk IV Boogie. Now have a listen to the clips and see if you can hear any difference between them and how you would specify that difference, and tell me what you like and what you don't like. I'll talk to you after the noise. So you've heard the sound clips. Excuse my rough playing and the slightly dodgy camera. I've broken my main camera and I'm using a little Logitech webcam to film this with. So the first one, the AWG-43, the slightly bigger coil, my observation from that was it was just maybe a little bit easier to drive into harmonics, and I think that's possibly with the lower resistance. It allows a slightly more of a peak in the high end, so it's not particularly brighter, but the peak's in a slightly different place, which allows it to drive into harmonics just a little easier, especially with by picking it. The second pickup I thought was a little bit tighter at the bottom end and a little bit smoother at the top end, so when you're playing lead with it, it doesn't sound quite so percussive. But that was really the only difference. There was very little difference to my ears in terms of the power and level of distortion that they would drive. I thought maybe the second pickup was a tiny little bit tighter, a little bit more compressed. But leave me your thoughts in the comments, and I'm really interested to hear what differences you heard. And I think possibly if I was playing on a different sort of amp setup, obviously I'm only using Helix at the moment, maybe the differences might have been a little bit more pronounced. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope it's been informative.